Blade V8 Pro. It's high time I did this review. You're not rocking with Rakama. Let's get into this. Welcome to a new series. I'm calling this one and done, because phones that I've been using or don't use anymore, or kind of been sitting around that I have yet to review, like the Blade V8, I'm going to be doing this new series called One and Done because it's done. I'll be getting rid of it, selling it, whatever. But however, I'm going to go ahead and go into details about this phone. Actually, it's not going to be a great detail, but I'm going to give you a rundown of the good, the bad, and the ugly with this phone. So I've been using this phone for probably about 2 months now. And this Blade V8 Pro is, honestly, what disappointed me is that this phone was overhyped, like since January CES. This was a CES phone. Why is a mid-range phone supposed to be a CES phone? Like, why is this promoted and glorified and edified as a great device? This phone it's all right. It's okay at the end of the day. It does what it needs to do. There are some things that do gripe me about this phone. So let's just go ahead, as I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and start off with the good, bad, and ugly. Let's go ahead and start with the ugly. I don't have to say anything else. That design that they chose, I do like the bezels on the side though, but that back has to go. Other than that, the bad with the phone, that's pretty much the only ugly factor here is the fact that the design that they chose, the texture they chose, it feels good in the hand and all, but it just doesn't look like something that you want to, if yours is a phone that you're hyping up at CES, you want to choose something different. But the bad with the phone, there are some quirks. Like there's some software features that I mentioned briefly in the Moto Z Play versus the Blade V8 video. If you want to, you can check that out. I'll have it either annotated at the end of this video, or I'll have it in the links in the description. But there are some quirks with this software that just did not sit well with me. There are some bugs. Like I've had this Bluetooth issue where it just doesn't pair with my Bluetooth speaker in my car.
Pairing failed.
So my hands-free Bluetooth speaker in my car, and I've had some other issues where there are some settings in the phone. They've got the raise to speak feature. It does not work. I've tried it. It's like frustrating. I missed many calls just trying to use that feature, and it just doesn't work. I mean, it's in there, but it just doesn't work. There's a feature called flip to snooze your alarm, or flip to turn off your alarm. That doesn't work. There's just so many things that at least these little shortcuts that are supposed to make this phone special, but it just doesn't work. So let me look at anything else here that I can see in the software. I don't know, I'm nitpicking, but other than that, these are like the extra stuff, the stuff that's supposed to, that's the stuff that people buy phones for. Is like that they want to know what sets this phone different than any other phone. So I'm just going to go ahead and look down the list here as far as some other things. Gesture and motion. So this is what I was talking about. You got the auto answer. The auto answer is supposed to be for. That's what it was called when you put your face to it, whatever. When you get a call, and it's supposed to auto answer, but it doesn't. You got the flip to mute, which you're supposed to silence a phone if it's ringing. I don't really use that. The snooze alarms, the stop alarms, flip it over. It doesn't quite work. And you got the shake to turn on the flashlight. That only works from the lock screen. I'm going to show that to you. So, got the lock screen on, right? And the flashlight comes on. But alright, that's cool, that works, but let's say if you wanted to do it from the home screen now. All right, so I got the home screen on. Doesn't work. It's not a Moto Z. It's not a Motorola device where you can do that from any screen. So those are just a few gripes that I have. Those are just the bad. Also, the screen quality. As I've shown in my comparison between the Moto Z Play and this phone, the screen quality is, colors are kind of washed out. So that was kind of, for me, that's kind of a thing that's a pet peeve for me, is washed out colored screens. That's the reason why I sold my Pro 3, is I just couldn't take that screen. The phone worked fine. It was two things with that phone. It was the software, and it was the actual color. Like, you had this different vivid modes you can put the screen in, but it didn't look good. And so for this, that's pretty much the ugly and the bad. Let's go ahead and go with the good. The good is that I've honestly not had any issues with performance on a daily basis. I haven't really had any hiccups where this thing's stuttering or anything like that. It does a good job. And then also the camera at the price point of $229. The camera has some really good features. You've got the monochrome feature, and then you have the feature that you can use with the camera to only pull certain colors out, and then you can take some really good shots there. And then also you have the blur mode feature for the camera, where when you take pictures with this thing, you know, it gives you a really good depth of field, and that I really enjoyed. But other than that, you know, this phone, once again, you've got 3 gigs of RAM, Snapdragon 625, 5.5-inch 1080p display, and you've got, I believe, 2 13-megapixel cameras on the front and the back. I'll annotate that if I have that incorrect, but actually you have the dual 13 megapixel on the back, and then I believe you have a 5 or an 8 on the front. Once again, I'll have that corrected if I'm incorrect about that. But yeah, you've got the fingerprint sensor on the front. You've got the USB-C, which is good because it's in line with the flagships you're using now. Fingerprint sensor works really well. Like, you won't have any issues unlocking your phone. That's how quick it unlocks. However, here's one thing I skipped in the bad. That speaker. This speaker is atrocious. And if you've seen my 48-hour impression video on this phone, yeah, you've seen how bad it is. But overall, this phone, I'll probably give it about a 6.5 out of 10. Just because it does what it needs to do, but it's nothing special at the end of the day. And I just think this phone was really overhyped at CES. So, you know, ZTE, they put out a phone last year called the Axon 7, which was pretty much all flagships, and they had the best speakers. And then this year, you start off with this ZTE, I think you could do a lot better, to be honest with you. So, I mean, you've got YouTubers right now that are burning this phone. They're putting this phone on a grill because they think it's garbage. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and probably put it on Swappa or whatever, because I'm currently not using this. And right now I'm getting into the G6. And when the S8 drops, I'll be picking that up too. So look forward to more phone reviews and more phone coverage from me. But this phone right here is one and done. It's one and done. So appreciate you watching. Keep rocking out with Rakama. Like, subscribe, and comment down below. Take care.